Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully all of you are doing well out there. I'm, of course, your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the T2020 in World of Tanks Blitz, as this vehicle is going to be coming into the third and final stage of the Blitz Fair 2021 auction. Now, this is a tank that was recently buffed, which might have you think that it's actually a decent vehicle to get your hands on. Well, I have news for you, and that is no. Do not buy this tank whatsoever in the auction. By far, this is the worst vehicle you can get your hands on. I put it up there with the Vindicator. While it was buffed, the issue still arises that it has literally no turret armor. You can easily penetrate right through the turret. The frontal armor can be bent by a lot of premium shells, and the sides, while they are thicker, are still very easy to penetrate, and it's a slower IS-5. And honestly, an IS-5, after running it for my video after playing the T2020, is just a more enjoyable tank. So honestly, if you own an IS-5, there's no point to get a T2020. And if you don't own an Object 252, well, this will also be coming into the final stage of the Blitz Fair auction. Now, there's literally no reason to get your hands on a T2020 when you can get an Object 252, which is flat out a 100% better vehicle. This tank does have some weaknesses. The lower plate is massive, as you can see, and it can be very easily penetrated if you have more than 190 millimeters of standard pen, which isn't that rare to find in Tier 8. As long as you dab that 2 key into Tier 7, you're easily cutting right through that lower plate. The side armor as well can be very weak, but as well extremely troll, because for some reason it gets the weirdest bounces. But overall, the 252 is an extremely strong tank, and that's what I'm actually going to be doing a review on in today's video, to let you know why the 252 is probably going to be worth the price that it is offered in the Blitz Fair auctions. Now, I don't know exactly what 100% the price will be, but I can definitely tell you that it will be probably around 8,500 to, we'll say, 10,000 gold. It's a very, very strong tank. It's got super ridiculously strong frontal armor, and it's actually able to bounce Tier 9s more effectively than some Tier 9 armor, especially, which is surprising because it is a Tier 8 heavy tank. As well, it carries a good gun. You'd think that the 252 is an extremely inaccurate vehicle, which, statistically speaking, it is. It's got 0.4 accuracy. Not only does it have 0.4 accuracy, but as well, it's got terrible aiming time. But yet the funny thing is that it's actually quite accurate. I hit more shells in this vehicle than I saw any other of my Russian heavy tanks. It's kind of like an IS-4 gun, where you'd think it's really inaccurate until you start using it, and it just seems to hit all of the shells. You can see that the gun really doesn't bloom too much. As well, the 252 is pretty fast, going 35 kilometers per hour. It's not the slowest, but it's definitely able to get in the position. So what do we have on the enemy team? We've got an E75 IS-3 Defender, VK100.01P. Ooh, there's a bounce from the Lorraine, and imagine if we'd hit that. That would have been very, very funny. But we did get snapped in the side by the T-54, as you can see, right through the tracks, which of course makes sense. That's the biggest weak spot on this vehicle. Now, judging that nobody was spotted, I've got to be a little bit worried about that. We got the E75 off to the side over there, but I could also go for this T49. The chances of him penning me at an angle like this are slim to none. So we'll get a nice tap into the 49. Not only did he miss me, but that was just a really bad shot. So we've got the E75 now pushing off to the side. We also got the VK72 pushing very, very aggressive behind me. So we could try and penetrate the C75, but right now we actually can't get through his frontal armor. We also got the Scorpion G on Mabuti, but we're going to aim in for this VK's lower plate. Aiming, and fire. There you go, nice penetration right there. Of course, not getting tapped back because that turret armor is ridiculously strong, as you can see. And we can just kind of sit here in comfort, knowing that we won't get penetrated by enemy tanks. And we also got like the Scorpion G right there. So let's, oh, we hit the rock. I wanted to hit the Scorpion G, but doesn't look like we're hitting him as of yet. So we'll just reload here. I'm not worried about being penned. Even by this VK, I'm really not super worried unless they start to push up on me. It's not too much of a threat, but you never can be too cautious. But the shell just going a little bit high. So right now we're just kind of in a standstill. Not much the enemy can do to me, but not much I can do to the enemy. I really want to get this VK taken out, though, as this is a very, very deadly target, especially with that big alpha gun it carries. So let's get one shell into the side of the VK. Doesn't look like he actually wants to shoot me, though, which is kind of weird. In fact, the enemy team would rather not shoot me. So I guess hopefully the standard B gets a nice shell out onto you. And I'm going to try and deal with the E75. There's one nice tap into him. Come on, Standard B, finish off the VK100. I believe in you. You can do it. Yes, nice shell from the Standard B. And with me dealing with the E75, kind of funny that the E75 is actually trying to, I was about to say, yeah, deal with me, judging that my Standard B's right there. But another nice tap into him for 405. Just dealt over 2,000 damage. And you can see this tank is just flat flat out easy to run. Now I can just face hug the E75, not even worried about being penned, and hopefully we can overmatch his frontal turret cheeks, as you can see we did. And this was an easy game. Over 2,000 damage dealt. Not the most damage, of course. That's not how the 252 works. You don't expect to ever get out a ridiculous amount of damage in your Russian heavies. That's just not how they play. But we were able to help our team and win the game just by using that strong frontal armor. And, well, I was going to say by bouncing a lot of shells, but the enemy heavies didn't really look at me. They drove right past me to deal with the mediums. So, I'm not even sure what happened there. But first game, we didn't do the best, didn't do the worst. Just about 2,200 damage. Let's load in the one more game just to see if that frontal armor is going to work just as well. And of course, you have to remember, that was a tier 9 battle. Well, my gun didn't work necessarily the way I wanted to. Missed that shell in the Scorpion G, bounced the shell on the side of that VK. I still did decent damage. If you ever expect to do over 3,000 average in a vehicle like a 252, you're definitely playing it wrong. You could, I guess, theoretically get a very high average, but it's not meant to be. The way I play a Russian Heavy is I support my team. I play it aggressive, but I try not to lose my hit points, of course. So I'm going to try and back up, as you saw there. I don't want to ever lose my HP. I'm not going to, like, rush in and gamble everything. So what does the enemy team have? Well, we got a T-54, a Conway, and a T-30. That's a very, very deadly tier 10 lineup. So we're going to push up the hill because that's definitely the schmottish way to go. But, of course, as I say that, my Tiger 2, literally, I don't understand teams, but we're going to go up. So, what do we have on the tier 8? So you got Chieftain, T95, T49. Okay, not too bad. The thing that's kind of funny about a 252 is, honestly, you don't have to worry about enemy tanks when you're going up against them like other vehicles. It's like, oh, look, a Jagdpanther's aiming at me, and then you just angle towards them, and as long as they can't see your lower plate, you'll most of the time bounce the shell. Now, don't you just love when your team completely ignores you? That is the fun thing of Blitz, don't you? So, we got the T-54 threat, we got the 49, the VK-100, and the Jagdpanther pushing in a town, which is weird. Wouldn't expect a Jagdpanther 2 to go town, but we'll see what we can do here. It's 34-3, oh, aiming in on our Conway, and maybe I can get some shells into the T-54. Aiming. You can see the aiming time is quite long on this vehicle, but we still got the shell into the T-54, which is, of course, what I wanted. I was just going to aim as long as possible. One thing I always tell people is aim as much as you need as long as you can get the shell out, because there's no consequence in aiming if you're not going to get, if you're going to get hit either way, then there's no consequence in aiming. Now, there we go. Nice snap into the T-30's cupola. Don't mind if I do. As you can see, again, the gun just seems to hit its shells for some reason, but we are getting hit in that lower plate. As I said, that lower plate is a massive weak spot on this tank, and it causes a lot of easy shells to get away into it, which is not necessarily what you want. We don't have much of a team sitting here, which also isn't much of what I want, and as you can see, that T-30 was able to literally snap me in the weirdest of shots right in the cupola. Nice shot into that Conway's turret, but hopefully my teammate is able to distract that T-30. Looks like he's actually doing a good job at that. We also got like the T-49 right off to my side here, who I would love to get a nice little snap into. So let's try that exactly just now. There you go. Nice snap for 454. Not sure why he even bothered with the HE, because of course we've got such a high advantage here with the alpha damage on our standard shell. T-54 off to the side, who I would love to also get a nice snap into. So aiming, and fire. Oh, bouncing off the lower plate. That's a big, sad moment there. Hopefully this T-30 is not running the high alpha gun. He's not. I didn't think he was. From that one shell he penned me in the roof of the turret, it didn't seem like he was. But you never know. Sometimes people just get unlucky on their rolls. So let's back up here. I don't want to be hit by the enemy T-30, of course, but if we can, we'll get a nice snap right into his lower plate. There you go. Nice ricochet as well. Again, that frontal armor on this tank, very, very troll. Even able to bounce shells from a T-30, a tier 9 tank destroyer. So let's keep aiming here on this T-30. Let's go for another snap into his frontal armor. We can back up now, hopefully quick enough. Oh, come on. Ramby. Yes, that works too. Teammate finishing off you, and this Conway making a very, very bold move. Hopefully, we can bounce the shell. As you can see, we did. Aiming an HE on the Conway's butt. Did not penetrate the way I wanted it to. However, we are not taken out yet. I'm getting more bounces from my teammates. And I don't want to be taken out. No, thank you. So hopefully, we're going to keep bouncing some shells here. There's another bounce and a bounce from the T-54. As you can see, this vehicle is ridiculous on how it gets bounces. and we were able to survive that game. Ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. This is why the 252 is such a strong vehicle. You can see there are ricochets all over my turret, and there's no way we should have ever survived that game. I was being rushed every single left, right, and centered area, but we still managed to survive, which shows you how ridiculous the 252 is. In fact, I'd love to see how much damage we ended up blocking in that game. So, hopefully, you enjoyed today's video. I would definitely suggest, if the 252 is less than 10,000 gold, to get your hands on it, because it's definitely worth the price. Over 4,000 damage blocked that game. You can really see how ridiculous that is, especially for a tier 8 heavy tank. So, hopefully, you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and to be seeing you in the next one.